you know Chris Paul is not going to get the respect he deserves in the future. People like Shaq will say things like this.
I got 3 finals MVP, Chuck.
Because you
Google me, Chuck.
Everybody
Google
know
me,
you were a
Chuck.
great
You see
player.
that?
Everybody
Google
know
me.
you're a great player.
You don't know what you're talking about when it comes to
No,
that. You ain't got to repent
not. You can yell as much as
I
you want
got
to.
3 finals MVP, Chuck. How many you got?
Yep, the only time you can disrespect a Hall of Famer to his face. Just say he doesn't have a ring. Real basketball fans will know, though, that CP3 was everything you could want in a player. A leader, a walking bucket who plays great defense. Yet, people will throw all that out without a championship. Well, if it's ever gonna happen, it will be with the Suns. Phoenix has shown they are the perfect mix of young talent for Chris Paul. Amazing role players, a two-way center, and a future superstar. This team could make CP3's legacy, but it won't happen. This video explains what's really wrong with the Suns, but the one thing Chris Paul can do to finally win. Yo, it's Casey, welcome to AM Hoops. Hit subscribe if you like this channel or this video or whatever. Plenty more where this came from, 5 videos per week. 2 member shout outs to the real MVPs, 2 Jacksons, Jackson Stoles, and Tim Jackson. A lot to get to here, why the Suns can't win, and what CP3 can do to save things, but let's just acknowledge how far he's come. I mean, we all thought Chris Paul had the worst contract in the NBA just 2 years ago. The Rockets actually traded control of 4 first-round picks and CP3 for Russell Westbrook. Then, CP3 made one of the biggest comebacks in NBA history. If anyone thought that he would turn the Thunder into a top 5 seed and almost knock out the Rockets, they're lying. What he's done these last 2 years has changed his legacy. He's not winning MVP, of course, but he is the definition of most valuable. Even if he did win that award, though, it's nothing compared to what a championship would do for how history looks at Chris Paul. If he doesn't win, though, he'll go down as my 3rd best player to never win a chip. The top 5 are Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, CP3, Elgin Baylor, and Steve Nash. Some have John Stockton in there. James Harden could probably sneak in. The point, though, is CP3 is elite. Before we get to what he can do to win, though, I have to explain why they won't win this season. They've been great this year, but I learned a long time ago not to trust the regular season. The 2015 Hawks got the 1 seed, swept in the conference finals. The 2017 Celtics did not win the East. 2018, the Raptors swept in the 2nd round. This year, you definitely can't trust the regular season. This graph is hard to read, but basically it says that the Suns have been one of the healthiest teams in the league. That small bubble next to their team name means that the players who got injured weren't the important players. Healthy teams have a huge advantage this year, so I am just not blown away by the Suns' record. And I'm not hating on the Suns here. There's just no way to know how their young guys are gonna react until the playoffs actually get here. Chris Paul, Jay Crowder, and kind of Dario Saric are their only players with playoff experience. If you don't think that's a problem, this'll make you go,
Things that make you go,
This was an insane stat from The Athletic. Only 2 NBA Finals teams the last 10 years have had under 30 playoff starts in their rotation. That was the 2015 Warriors and the 2020 Miami Heat. Obviously, Golden State, the only winner. If you rank playoff starts in the West, the Suns are in 12th place. Phoenix will have to go against the Lakers, the Clippers, maybe the Nuggets, who just made a conference finals, the Jazz, who are an experienced young group. Even the Blazers and Mavericks would feel pretty confident against Phoenix. Experience matters in the playoffs because teams take steps. Look at any champion and you'll see several playoff failures before they broke through. Even the young 2015 Warriors lost to the Spurs in round 2, then to the Clippers in round 1 before 2015. I do think the Suns are good enough to win a championship. They're that talented, but they're just not ready. It reminds me of climbing the ladder at whatever job you're in. In my case, I thought I knew what it takes to interview famous athletes when I was 22 years old. I mean, you see it on TV, ESPN, how hard could that be? Well, I had to fail.
What are those?
Several times.
It's not a win-win. It's a today, Junior.
And take steps before getting that big job. Once I got there, it was a lot tougher than I thought, and I had a real respect for those people I used to watch on TV. The Suns need to fail before they win, so this year ain't it. Plus, I'm concerned these playoffs will be more difficult than usual. These guys haven't played with crowds in over a year. Arenas are starting to let more and more fans in, and that playoff intensity could feel 10 times bigger than it normally does. But there is one thing CP3 can do to finally win, and that's stay with this team. He's got a $44.2 million player option to stay one more season, but there's a chance that Chris Paul turns that down and signs a long-term deal. That's another sign of how great he's been, by the way. 2 years ago, we thought he'd retire, but now we could see Paul extending his career and reshaping his legacy with a championship in Phoenix. It's not just the perfect roster we mentioned, but the perfect coach. Monty Williams is a lock for Coach of the Year, even over Quinn Snyder of the Jazz and Tom Thibodeau in the Knicks. I have zero doubts he is good enough to coach a title team. The only issues are Chris continuing to be this good for 1 or 2 more seasons at 35 years old, and not taking that bigger contract. If CP3 really wants to win a ring, I think he's got to stay with Phoenix and probably take less money. This offseason, the Thunder, Knicks, Spurs, Bulls, Mavericks, and Heat all have more cap space than the Suns. Even though Phoenix has CP3's bird rights, there is a world where a team like that, the Knicks, the Bulls, or the Mavs, sells Chris on a young, talented roster with stars and a fat new contract. This offseason, he has got a really big decision to make that could change everything. Does he pick up that player option for 1 more year in Phoenix? Does he re-sign as a Sun? Or does he try this all again with another franchise to be the one-man rebuilding plan? Honestly, I hope he stays in Phoenix because they're one of the best stories this season. Devin Booker deserves to be in the playoffs because he's so talented and he's not full of himself. Monty Williams is an excellent coach who can prove himself in the postseason. The roster works so well because they don't have an ego like the Rockets did, and they can learn from Chris Paul and be led. Now, all they need is 1 or 2 years of playoff experience before they break through. When that happens, Chris Paul can rewrite his legacy if he chooses to stay. But he's just one of the free agents that's coming up this summer if he chooses to decline that option. This is my mega free agency preview with everything you need to know, including where Kawhi Leonard could land.